You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. I'm your host, Shamaya Reed. You're listening to this amazing station, 9:30 a.m. The Answer, Sunday morning. And guess what? We have a special guest today. Today, we're talking to Kendra Wilkerson. She is the current Miss Black Texas, a student at Texas A&M University, San Antonio. I want to say good morning to you, and how are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing very well. I'm very excited to be here. How are you?
Doing really great. And we have you in today because it's all about what you're doing in San Antonio, Texas. And before we get too deep in the details with you being current Miss Black Texas, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So again, my name is Kendra Wilkerson. I'm Miss Black Texas 2020. I'm a graduate of Texas A&M San Antonio. And while I was a student there, I studied communications with a focus on public relations and a minor in business. Also, I was a music major there where I studied classical opera performance. So I have a lot of music experience when it comes to singing and the whole composition side of music. So that's really me, and kind of give a spiel about me. So that's kind of my passion. And I'm really excited to be Miss Black Texas 2020 because I have an opportunity to represent San Antonio, Texas, and possibly the United States to kind of give a voice to kind of the youth and the people of the community. Let them know the importance of education, the importance of never giving up, the importance of striving towards your dreams, no matter what type of obstacles come in your way. So, yeah.
You being on this amazing platform that you have major influence. And with that platform, you touch on pretty much leadership for the youth. What's some of the things that you want young people to understand about the process of education and being successful in life? Because it is a journey.
Sure. You know what? I'm so glad that you asked that question. I think it's very, very important for our youth to become educated because an education is something no one can ever take from you. It's a tool that you have in yourself to be able to navigate through all of the challenges that you're going to be facing. It's very important to have an education, and I recommend that everybody have an opportunity to go get an education. There's so many scholarships out there to pay for education. There's so many programs that you can go to pay for education. So I definitely recommend that to everybody. And yeah.
So let's rewind the tape a little bit. Where are you from, and how was life growing up, man?
So I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and my parents worked for the civil service, the government, and it moved us around the country. So I've lived Cleveland, I've lived in Michigan, I spent a lot of time in Colorado, and my parents actually retired here in San Antonio, Texas. I've been here for 10 plus years. I've grown to love the community. It's a very diverse community. It's an amazing place to grow. There's so much opportunity here in San Antonio. And so, yeah, I'm here, and I expect to continue to make an impact on the community to push our culture forward.
And when you started to go to college, did you always know what you were going to study? Because you know the whole story of most college students, we changed our
You know what? I'm so glad you asked that question as well. So when I was in high school, I was really, really into the arts community. My high school had one of the strongest performing arts programs in the district. So at that time, I knew I wanted to study opera. So I decided to audition to some schools. The first school that I went to was Prairie View A&M University. It's a historically black college in the A&M system near Houston area. And that's where I first began to go to school. There I was in the marching band as well as the choir. And I ended up transferring to another school to go to UIW. And I was able to kind of hone in on my musical skills a little bit more and focus more on that. And ultimately transferring to Texas A&M San Antonio, where I was able to combine my communication skills with my music experience, which is very important, by the way. As artists, we have to be able to speak with people and hold conversations with people. And I feel like those two skills are very necessary because sometimes you won't always have the backing of a large PR agency or a large communications team to be able to navigate that for you. And you want to be able to have the mindset to be able to do that on your own. So with that being said, I recommend that all artists in San Antonio, please try to get an education so you can definitely know how to navigate the business.
That's really, now she's speaking my language because the arts, I'm into music as well. And that's a perfect topic to talk about. When you, as a creative, the arts, it gives you the freedom to express yourself and to really paint a nice canvas masterpiece for people who are willing to appreciate the art.
Definitely.
What's your favorite process in the creativity of opera?
Honestly, I have, to give you a little bit more information about me, I actually worked in a museum and where it was focusing on arts. And while I was in the museum, I kind of learned the side of arts advocacy and how important it is and how arts activism is very important and how arts has the ability to push forward ideas. So honestly, at this point, I think the creative process of creating something that is going to change the climate of our culture, that's become my favorite part because, it's not only impacting your listeners, but music has the opportunity to impact people across the globe. So that's really my favorite part, to see the impact of it. It's always a positive thing.
And when you see how things grow in the city, I mean, businesses are popping up everywhere. It's a lot of opportunities. It's a lot of creative minds here in San Antonio. When you are, because you mentioned about branding yourself, and it is definitely a great tip to have a good education so that you can kind of communicate with people effectively. What advice would you have to other creatives here in the city when it comes to putting yourself out there to the public, whether it's social media or if it's networking?
Honestly, I'm a really big advocate for the voices of the city to speak to people that can actually make change in our climate. So I think that's very important because you can easily make a song about who's just going to speak to anybody. But if you're into that, make music that's worth listening to, that's actually the meat of what music really is. So that's what I would recommend because it's a lot of our the people that are making the decisions in our United States aren't always in the communities. They don't really know what's going on, so they need some of the change makers and the people that are wanting to be change agents. They have to hear that voice.
If you're just now tuning in, this is Iron Refocus Radio on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. I'm your host, Shamaya Reed, talking to the one and only Kendra Wilkerson, the current Miss Black Texas. She was a student at Texas A&M University, San Antonio. And we're having a good time here on Sunday morning for you guys and ladies out there. When you are in the process of hitting your goals, selecting your targets for your life, for your future.
Sure.
What, if you can kind of give us a little secret sauce here, what are some of your ways of keeping yourself focused on your goals and your targets?
Sure. Honestly, I am a really big advocate for living a healthy lifestyle. That's very important. You must have the right nutrition. You must eat healthy. That's kind of a double, but you must work out. That's very, very important to me for reaching goals. Also, writing things down. What is your goal going to be? What is your time span that you want to do to reach the goal? What is the purpose of your goal? So I think that's very important that our community knows about setting and reaching goals as well.
And speaking of reaching goals, You reached a goal not too long ago, being Miss Black Texas, the current one of 2020. Tell us the story of how did you get into that process?
Sure.
And
thank you for
asking. Did you know he's going to win, or give us the scoop?
Okay, so when I was in high school, right between high school and college, I was actually Miss Black San Antonio, and I participated in that pageant, and I actually got third place. And I kind of veered away from the pageantry lifestyle for a while. And then I was doing some research online, and I was wanting to find something that will be able to give me a little bit more of a voice within my opera industry. And I was able to find the pageant. So I decided to give an audition package to them and submit an application. And with the lengthy essay, I was chosen to represent Miss Black Texas for the upcoming year.
And with that accomplishment, was how did life change for you? Because that's a big situation there where it can, like I said earlier in the show, it gives you that amazing amount of influence.
Sure.
How did life change for you?
Honestly, one of the main reasons why I did it is because I wanted to be within a community of African American women that are actually working towards certain type of goals. I think it's very important as people, we have our communities where we can learn about our communities and then have the tools to go out into the global community and kind of interact with them. So that's one of the bonus points, and I really love it because it's a great sisterhood. We're able to speak to each other, give people motivation. And also, as a Black woman, we really don't see a lot of pageantry. And I think it's very important for the Black woman's narrative to kind of change a little bit. And this is a platform for that to happen for Black women in the United States and globally. So, I'm really excited about that.
When you see how life, it goes fast, but as long as you're hitting your targets and you're keeping that mental state of, I'm going to keep being consistent at my goals, so. How have you learned from your mistakes and past failures to position yourself to being that great opportunity? Sure.
So honestly, in life, I think everybody is going to go through, I wouldn't say a failure. I've never heard, I don't use the word failure. I always say challenge because a challenge is something that's going to get you up and get you moving and trying to find the way to navigate through it. So I've always been the type of person to see if I have a challenge, I'm going to go ahead and work through it. And I suggest that to everybody in the music industry. It's kind of something that you have to be ready for. You have to be ready to be challenged. You have to be ready to be able to be flexible and resilient. That's just the nature of the business, the nature of the entertainment industry in general. And yeah.
And by the way, you listen to 9:30 a.m. The Answer, the show Iron Refocus Radio. You can catch awesome shows, bonus shows on ironfocusradio.com. I'm your host, Marie, talking to Kendra Wilkerson, the current Miss Black Texas. And we're here in the studio on the 12th floor, living in large, having a good time on this show. Before we wrap up, when you talk about your goals and leadership and the skill set of being able to communicate well and effectively, when you are out there and you're talking to press and you're talking to businesses or the young people, what's some of the things that you can give a takeaway for people who are interested in building their influence? What would you tell them? How can they position themselves to prepare their ability to communicate effectively?
Honestly, effective communication just really needs to be really aware of the goal that you have in mind. And I think that's very important to be able to convey a message. Communication is the key to success. If we don't have effective communication with our peers, our community, we kind of lose sight of unity. We lose sight of peace. And I think that's very important. Sometimes messages are conveyed a certain way where they're not taken the right way. So that's why I think communication is always the number one thing. If we don't have a voice, we don't have anything. And that's really what I truly believe in.
As a music creative yourself, what are some of the goals that you have for 2020 with your music creativeness?
So I'm actually working on some projects right now I'm really excited about, and they should be coming out really soon, and I hope to be able to share that with you all. That's one of my goals I'm currently working on. I don't want to give too much information. I don't want to spoil it, but I am definitely working on some things. And for 2020, I am so excited about being Miss Black Texas and going to represent Texas in the Miss USA pageant. And I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited for the opportunities that I will be able to have and be able to share with the community.
And people listening right now are probably asking, well, what does she do for fun? Because it seems like you're working all the time, 24/7.
Oh, my gosh.
What does Ms. Kendra do for fun? What's some of your hobbies outside of music?
So, honestly, I have found a new joy in working out. I spend a lot of time in the gym. And honestly, for fun, my music is actually my fun. I find expression in my music. So I love to do that. I love to go to museums. I love to try new cuisine, and that's kind of what I do for fun.
And with the leadership hat back on, when you see how young people they're just saturated with technology and social media, and there's so many things that can pull them away from their goals or distract them from what they should be doing in life. What words of wisdom will you give to young people as they're growing up and finding themselves and discovering their talents?
So, honestly, with social media, that is kind of a place to have a marketplace of ideas, and it's an amazing tool for us to have as artists. We can now creating a music career is kind of in our own hands. You can create content, put it on various platforms with the right marketing. You're able to create a career and like a lucrative career. So I think that's a very important tool to have, and a tool to need to know how to navigate. With technology, it's always going to advance how we think and how we interact with people, and that's something that's never going to go anywhere. We're always going to continue to be innovative. So with the communications industry, the entertainment industry, and the technology industry, as they kind of partner together to move forward our next generation, I think that's very important, and we should definitely always continue to focus our attention on things like that.
And if you're just now tuning in, this is I Am Refocused Radio on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Your host, Shamaya Reed, talks to Kendra Wilkerson, the current Miss Black Texas. And before we wrap up, when you are seeing how life is expanding and growing with opportunities, it's a lot of accountability too as well.
Definitely.
When your platform starts to grow, you have to be held accountable with responsibility. How do you manage your time? Because time is a big thing for people, and how you manage it determines your success. So how you manage your time?
So honestly, prior to, actually I learned, and I mastered my time management skills while I was in college. And I am definitely a example of how you can go to college and really learn how to navigate and learn how to manage your time. With so many projects being due, having to navigate working jobs, projects, and papers to write, you kind of are forced to learn time management skills. And that's really, really what's going on right now in the workforce. When you're going into a job, you kind of need to know how to navigate and how to manage your time. And that's really what people are wanting to hire. And that's what school kind of teaches you. I know there are other ways that you can learn time management skills. But with that being said, me personally, I learned how to manage my time effectively in school, writing down a list, saying what my priority is, what should I do first, and things like that. And that's been very, very beneficial for me.
And that is true. When you write things down, it makes things a lot easier to focus on and have clarity. Speaking of clarity, it's always awesome to have a right mindset of people around you too, like a little community of people who are helping you grow and challenging you to always go above the extra mile for reaching your targets. How do you, and speaking to the audience, how do you keep yourself surrounded with like-minded people that help you go to your
Sure.
destiny?
Now, I'm glad you asked that question because in the classical opera world, as an African-American Black performer, there's very few of us. And you have to make sure you find your community to be able to keep you on the target of what you're trying to do. So in my experience, what I've always done is I'm always trying to partner with like-minded people who have the same type of goals, the same vision. Ask people, well, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? And if that doesn't really align with what you're trying to do, that probably isn't the right person for you to be with and for you to have to change your circle. And that's very, very important. The people who you surround yourself with is very, very important. And you always want to have people around you who are a light and who bring positivity.
That is key right there, because if everyone's in your circle negative, man, you might want to dip out there because it's toxic, and kind of it damages your vision.
Definitely
and
so.
Speaking of vision, 2020 vision, what are some of the things that you're excited about for this new year? Because everyone has New Year's resolutions and all that stuff, but for you personally, what's your vision for this year?
For me personally, I envision myself continuing to focus on health. I've actually recently created a lifestyle blog, so I'm really, really excited about that. So that's one of my visions that I have for this upcoming year, to kind of create that into something that I really am proud of. I also a vision of creating my music projects, and that's really a really big goal of mine. And hopefully right now I'm actually working on a package for auditioning for various operas. And of course, the pageant.
Of course, yeah. And speaking of that, what advice for the young ladies out there, what advice will you give to them if they one day aspire to be in your shoes and win a competition like that, such?
Time management, that's key. And like you said, being around the right circle, that's so important. Because if you're not around the right circle, you can easily be strayed away from your goals. And so that's very important. Focus. Never, ever settle for anything that you don't feel is right for you. If you have a little voice in your head telling you, I don't think this is the right way to go, trust it.
And for those who are listening right now and say they feel like they're stuck in life, maybe things are not bad, but they just feel like they plateau, like they're just flatline. What words of wisdom will you give to people out there who want to dream big and they want to accomplish big things in life? What's that first step that they need to take in order for that to happen?
So I was listening to a motivational podcast, which I listen to often. And the person that I was listening to said, well, if you're in the beauty shop long enough, you're definitely going to get your hair done. So that's really what I have to say about that.
I get that. And if you kind of let that marinate a little bit, it's going to catch. No, that's a nice analogy, because just to echo that, and I say to say too, I say a lot of time on the show, your life is a blank canvas.
Definitely so.
And your gift is your paint. What you do with it is your mark on history.
Definitely.
So if you're out there listening right now, I want to say thanks for tuning in, because time flies by when you're having fun. We're talking to Kendra Wilkerson. She's the current Miss Black Texas. And before we let you go, how can people stay in touch with you?
Sure. Thank you for asking. You can definitely follow me on Instagram at Kendra Sings Opera, as well as on Twitter at Kendra's Opera Era.
Well, there you have it. Once again, this is I Am Refocused Radio here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, your host, Shamaya Reed. And like we say on every single show, keep God first, stay focused, and peace.
This is Gene Hildebrand with Engage SA. For a comprehensive listing of Christian events in San Antonio each week, check out the Engage Christian Calendar. The calendar is distributed via email each week to about 700 subscribers, absolutely free of charge, as a ministry to the San Antonio Christian community. To subscribe, go to Engage SA on Facebook and click the button for email list. Or you can find the calendar posted on Engage SA as well as 17 other group sites. I'm Gene Hildebrand. Engage.
Hi, San Antonio. Need a barber? Visit our good friend Rico Rodriguez, the owner of Rockefeller's Barbershop in San Antonio, Texas, 1733 Babcock Road, and book your appointment today by calling 210-782-5188.